If you're tired of overgiving, of shrinking yourself to be chosen, of feeling like love, peace, or abundance is something you have to earn, I want you to know this. You're not broken. You're just unpracticed in believing you matter. There is a way to live differently. And this is exactly why I created You Matter, an 8-week, soul-deep course to help you remember your worth, reclaim your power, and rewrite every relationship in your life, starting with the one you have with yourself. Enrollment is now open. You can find more information on my website, www.lindsaymorlock.com. Come walk with me on this journey, and I'll show you how your worthiness was never up for debate. The world is waking up, and you finding your way here today is no coincidence. The spirit world always has a way of guiding us where we most need to be at the absolute perfect time. I'm your host, Lindsay Morlock, and you're listening to the Guided Podcast, where we explore how the spirit world works on our behalf to guide us along our paths. This is where you'll learn how to live a life that is both conscious and connected, so you can supercharge your pathway to healing and open to life's magic and miracles. Come along this journey to see how guided you truly are. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Season 4 of the Guided Podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay Morlock, and I'm so grateful that you're here with me as we begin a brand new season of this podcast, because truthfully, this isn't just a new season of the pod, it's a whole new era for me. I'm in a season of deeper listening, more channeling, and allowing spirit to move through me in a way that feels honest. And these episodes are beginning as raw transmissions, unfiltered truths that are coming through my heart, not my head. And while I do refine them slightly for clarity and rhythm and structure, what you're going to hear is still deeply real. This isn't performance. This isn't going to be perfectly polished. This is just me sharing what's true, what wants to be spoken, what I've lived and felt, and what I've grieved and what I've wrestled with. So these are not necessarily teachings from the mountaintop, but they are stories from the middle of my climb. This season, I'm not here to wrap it all up in a bow, but I am here to meet you in the full messiness of the process of becoming. To speak the words that Spirit keeps whispering to me, stay present, stay honest, and say the thing that you've been too afraid to say. And so that's what I'm doing here. This isn't just a creative shift for me. It's a full surrender, a total release of control. Spirit has asked me to trust everything about this process. The order in which the episodes are coming through, the words that want to be spoken, even when they don't make chronological sense, because these messages are energetic transmissions. They're meant to land and be understood in your body, in your heart, in the way they're meant to land for you. So to officially kick us off, as many of you know, I moved 2,500 miles across the country from New Jersey to Arizona nearly 3 years ago now. And I made that move because I wanted to live a more authentic life. But what ended up unfolding was nothing like my mind imagined it would be. What I thought was going to be a fresh start turned into an incredibly dark night of the soul. And yet, I hold deep reverence for this metamorphosis because in that unraveling, I remembered who I really am. What I see now, what I couldn't see then, is that Spirit didn't lead me into the wrong life. Spirit led me into a life that would reveal every single place I was living out of alignment. A life that would show me in brutal clarity where I was abandoning myself. So yes, I found beauty in the red rocks, in the silence of the desert, but inside, I was stripped bare. I was depleted. I was struggling to feel safe within myself. I kept looking outward for approval, for love, for validation. I shapeshifted, I contorted, I poured myself into others, hoping they'd reflect something beautiful back to me. But they couldn't, because I had not yet become a safe place for myself. And that's the truth. And the more I tried to earn love, The more I tried to prove my worth and show up as useful or overly helpful, the more I lost myself. So eventually I had to face that I had built my life on top of an unworthiness wound. And no matter how polished my exterior may have looked, that wound kept bleeding. So I turned inward. And that's when my journey began to stop looking for my reflection in other people. And I started to learn how to build a home within myself. In that descent, I found something real. I found a place inside of me that I now call home. I learned how to create safety and security within me. I found joy and peace and a sense of wholeness that wasn't contingent on anything or anyone outside of me. And from that place of inner intimacy, my outer world finally began to mirror that back. So today, I am surrounded by beauty and inspiration and deep love and support and abundance. But it all came from a very hard-won battle of learning how to cultivate that within myself. It didn't happen by accident. It took soul searching. It took brutal honesty. It took unlearning everything I thought I had to be, do, say, not say in order to be loved. It took deep, messy healing. So today, I can say this with reverence and awe. I feel free. I feel liberated, not because my life is perfect, not because I have everything figured out, because trust me, I don't, but because I'm no longer looking outside of myself for belonging. I am the belonging. I've cultivated beauty within me. I've found my home within me, within spirit. I've found joy and safety and a rootedness that isn't dependent on circumstance. And from this place, this stillness, this spaciousness, I'm finally ready to speak from my truth, not just about my truth. So I can say now, I'm no longer living in want. My heart is deeply satisfied and fulfilled. My mind feels mostly quiet. And I've developed a level of intimacy and trust with myself that I could only imagine having at one point in time. I'm trusting that spirit provides what I need exactly when I need it. And there's this inner peace that I have never known before. And now I finally feel ready to share not just the polished lessons, but the messy middle of all of it, the vulnerable moments, the in-process stories, because that's where the real transformation lives. You know, Spirit recently said to me, anyone can share what they've learned, but can you show the process of becoming? Can you show the truth of it while you're still in it? And so that's the invitation I'm answering with this season, because here's what I know to be true. There is such a high cost to not embodying your worth. You find yourself surrounded by people who don't really know you because you've never let yourself be seen. And the bigger tragedy, you don't get to know yourself. You become a stranger to your own soul. And if you don't feel real to you, you're never going to feel safe to or with anyone else. I've learned how to claim my power, how to stand in it, how to live from it. And I came to see how unworthiness was infiltrating every single area of my life. My work, my money, my relationships, my dreams. And when you remember that you matter, everything starts to change. You stop overgiving. You stop self-sacrificing. You stop mistaking scraps of attention for love. You start choosing, you start honoring, you start creating a life that actually reflects who you really are. And so what I've come to understand in this process is that to live an authentic life, you have to build emotional intimacy with yourself. You have to be willing to feel what you feel, to give yourself permission to want what you want, and stop silencing the parts of you that someone once told you were too much or not enough. You have to give yourself permission to be radically you. Authenticity always begins with truth-telling, not just to others, but to yourself. And when you begin to unearth those buried parts, when you stop trying to shapeshift and earn love, you begin to see clearly you were never too much to begin with, and you were never not enough. You were just trying to survive in a world that didn't know how to hold your light. So much of what I'll be sharing this season is about reclaiming that light and remembering your worth. Because here's what I've learned the hard way. When we don't embody our worth, we attract takers, people who take far more than they give. We settle for breadcrumbs of connection when what we really want is the feast. We perform for love, working harder, hustling more, earning our keep, and we mistake it for intimacy. We put our own dreams on hold. We dim our voices. We shrink ourselves while shining the spotlight on everybody else. We silence our truth to keep other people comfortable. But we don't just lose ourselves in relationships. We lose touch with what it even feels like to belong to ourselves. And when we don't feel worthy, we keep trying to prove it through our money stories, through our partnerships, through the way we hustle for validation and approval. We think we're abandoned by others, but really, we've been abandoning ourselves. So here's the truth. You don't have to become anything different to be worthy. You are not more worthy because you've healed more. You are not less worthy because what you have done, said, or left undone. You are worthy right now, without performance, without pretense. So this season is an invitation to remember that. So I hope you'll walk this path with me. Each week, I'm going to be sharing raw and real stories from my own journey, stories that invite you to reflect on yours. My hope is that in witnessing my patterns, my healing, and my hard-won clarity, you'll start to see your own, that you'll begin to recognize who you've been giving your power to, what dynamics you're no longer available for, and how to return to the deepest love and worth within yourself. I hope this is the season where you come home to yourself, where you stop settling, where you start to love yourself with abandon. Because you matter. You always have. You just forgot. And I hope this podcast allows us to remember that together. So each week I'll be releasing new episodes, offering the truths I once needed to hear most. And this first one, it's already live. It goes deep. I open up about what was really going on throughout my time in Sedona, my own spiritual unraveling, and the suicidal moment that became a turning point in my own life. It's raw, it's real, and giving voice to this really stretched me to the edge of my own vulnerability. But it's also the truth that's been quietly living beneath the surface, not just waiting to be spoken, but waiting for me to be ready to be seen. So if you've ever felt lost in your own life, if you've ever silently asked yourself, is this really all there is to life? This episode is for you. So go listen now, because sometimes it takes someone else naming the truth you've swallowed to remember that your voice was never meant to stay silent. Bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to the Guided Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I would be so grateful if you would share it with a friend or even leave me a review so we can ensure that it makes its way into the ears of listeners who need to hear these messages most. Until next time, may you remember how guided you truly are.